episode 34 of Stairway to Cinema. I know I'm completely energetic today. Send us some emails before I forget. Stairway
Did we get
Cinema.
any?
No.
Oh,
I would have told you if you did, but no.
It would have been an exciting moment.
I know, right? Yeah, stairwaycinema@gmail.com. So, there's actually some news today. Because, this is news and movies of 2 weeks. So there's quite a lot. First, it's been, almost 2 weeks, actually, that Joel Schumacher died.
Yeah, that was kind of a bummer.
Kind of legendary director. A lot of people remember him for Batman Forever and Batman Robin, which is, I think, for the wrong reason.
Yes, I agree completely.
Because he made some good movies. For me, probably his best one is Falling Down. But I also like Tigerland with Colin Farrell. Yeah, pretty sad.
Lost Boys, St. Elmo's Fire, Flatliners, all the good shit. Cousins, even back in the day. But yeah, I would probably agree with you on Falling Down. Falling Down was
just super good.
Great movie.
Yeah, and fun trivia. Schumacher said that I think he slept with 10,000 people in his life.
Really?
Yeah, which is, how does he keep count?
Is this men and women?
I think it's just men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
I could see that.
He was 80 years old when he died, so
I'm probably still getting it on too.
Right.
One of his worst movies, I have to say though, one of the movies that really let me down. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Is the number 23 with Jim Carrey.
Oh, that was actually interesting to me because it's a serious movie with Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's how they, market it. And I guess you could say it is a serious movie, but it's just the story is, it really falls apart. The trailer's amazing. You're just like, oh man, can't wait to see this. I was so hyped for it back in the day, but it was really a big giant letdown. But he seemed to let me down a lot towards the end there. Yeah,
he didn't always do good movies. As I mentioned, Batman and Robin, But 8mm with Nick Cage is also pretty good.
Yeah, the last thing he's credited for is a couple episodes of House of Cards. That's crazy.
Oh, that was back in 2013, so he didn't do anything for last 7 years.
Yeah, guess he was chilling.
Yeah, and fucking some guys.
Yeah.
All right.
To each their own.
Right. More news. This is not really exciting for us, I think. There's gonna be a Pirates of the Caribbean movie with Margot Robbie.
Yeah, I was gonna mention this.
Okay. I do like Margot Robbie, but
same.
But what I think is they probably just want to do Harley Quinn as a pirate. Jack Sparrow 2.0 with Margot Robbie. I don't think that's a good idea.
Now, this isn't someone corrected me on Twitter, of course, when I was raising a little hell with this on Twitter the day that it was announced. But
sure,
they mentioned that it's not a gender swap, but I feel like it still is technically, a gender swap of a movie in a way. We haven't seen the story, we haven't seen the trailer. Could be cool,
Sure,
could be cool.
I want more pirates,
but I just feel like my gut feeling says it's a bad move. That I think with Ghostbusters, I know I shouldn't compare it to Ghostbusters. Right. I know that's a rough comparison there, but I feel like, and I also feel like there's a huge backlash from Johnny Depp not being in it. I think.
Right.
I think Pirates. I hate to put it on a gender scale or whatever, but I think Pirates appealed to more women than it did men because of Johnny Depp and Jack Sparrow. So I think, even though it's championed by women, the movie, right? I don't see a lot of women going to see it. So who's this made for is what I'm curious about. Who are you going after?
Yeah, my biggest issue is really that I feel like this is just they're making this because she was Harley Quinn and she was crazy in that. So I just don't want another Jack Sparrow. I want something
Right.
different.
Right. Yeah, because I've even mentioned like I'm done with Jack Sparrow. I don't really want to see Jack Sparrow anymore.
Dude, the last two movies were so shit.
But when I read all female led casts, I'm just like, okay, let's see what you got. Let's see what this is.
That doesn't mean that will change anything.
I was told that I had to turn in my geek man card because I didn't want to see a bunch of sexy pirate ladies. And it's like, you haven't seen a trailer yet. You don't know if this is going to be a sexy, salacious movie. Yet. Probably going to be some gritty fucking movie, man. You never know.
Hopefully.
But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I do like Margot Robbie, though. So, I think they got the right choice, So.
Yeah. All right. Next news, which is kind of exciting. Michael Keaton is supposed to play Batman in the Flash movie.
Huge news, unexpected. No one had any idea.
Super.
Just came out of fucking nowhere when that was announced. And that's exciting.
I think it's great. Yeah.
That's exciting. I mean,
what a move.
Nobody was excited for the Flash movie. So Warner Brothers, kudos to them for pulling that out of their hat there to make people excited for a Flash movie.
Yes.
Because I thought the Flash movie was dead. So, but I think the way Warner Brothers is pushing that Snyder Cut on HBO Max, I think you might see a bit of a reawakening or a reboot of some kind for the DC extended universe, even though they've said it many times that it's dead and they only want to do movies that don't connect. I still feel like they're going to connect because they can't help themselves.
Didn't they say they wanted to create some kind of a multiverse?
Yeah, I mean, I think
with different Batmans and shit.
Which is just like the comics. So I'm fine with that as long as it's well done. As long as it's well done.
Yeah, of course.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. And the last news I have is I didn't really read anything on it, but I there's gonna be a Fallout TV show adaptation of the video game by Amazon. So that's could be cool, could be bad. I don't know.
It could be absolutely terrible, but I'm not gonna trash it because it could be cool, especially if they do it right.
The setting of the Fallout games is amazing, so
could
make a good show, but you never know.
I think they got to do it brutal, violent. It's a mature game, so I think you got to be a gritty show. The game is a little goofy in parts, particularly like Fallout 4.
Yes.
Fallout 3 was really good. Fallout New Vegas was really good. But I think ever since then they've kind of dropped the ball on the game side. But I mean, I don't know. I think but at the same time, like I'm about to contradict myself because I was like, I'm worried about shows based on games, but The Witcher was actually a success. So, I could see them maybe pulling something out of their hat there.
But I mean, The Witcher was based on the books as well, and I'm just not sure if Fallout the games are not story strong games,
right?
So I'm curious about what they come up with. Like, if it's just a simple story, I don't know. But I mean the world is enough already for me to be interested.
They tagged writers.
The setting is cool.
They tagged writers from Westworld as well, so that does give me some hope there. The thing for me though is I'm not like a full believer in Amazon as a service for film and streaming just yet. I feel like they pulled the plug too quickly on a lot of shows. They dropped the ball on a lot of shows. The Man in the High Castle for one. But you know what though? They got Lord of the Rings coming too, so they got some shit coming up, and they did do very well with The Boys. So yeah.
And also, I heard that Fleabag is really good, and there's that show The Terror that I really liked.
Yeah.
So they got some good shit, but they're not on the level of Netflix yet with originals.
No, and now you got HBO Max as well. You got Disney. I mean, you got. It's a big, and then Hulu too. Like,
strong,
Hulu does pretty well, but Hulu without Handmaid's Tale is very weak. Hulu is, I think, needs Handmaid's Tale, which is coming back, which is great, but it can only last so long, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
I did see a report that Ben Affleck, actually, speaking of Batman, signed on to a deal with HBO or Warner Brothers. So he will appear as Batman again in some projects in the future, which I think is kind of cool.
It's kind of cool. And you have like three different Batman.
Yeah, because I've stated before, I loved him in BVS, but Justice League, they completely neutered him.
Right.
So I think like he really, to me, man, I mean, he really captured that brooding, old, broken down Batman that was like straight out of the Frank Miller comic book. So I kind of want to see more of that. So I'm excited about that. I mean, you know me. I'm all hyped up for that shit. So it goes without saying.
Right. Yeah. Some exciting stuff. So now to the fun section of the podcast, as I like to call it. Remember when we rated some actors?
Yeah. You got actresses now?
We did rate actresses as well, dude. But I
little people. Are we rating the little people?
Let's do soft reboot. So I got 15 names for now.
50?
15.
Oh, 15. Okay.
And we're gonna give them a rating for the acting and a rating for how much we like them as an actor.
Okay.
Not as a person, but as an actor.
Okay.
Because you always talked about likability when we did those ratings, and there's clear difference between acting talent and how much we like him. So
right.
I thought 2 ratings for everybody.
So this is based on acting, and what was the other category?
Likability.
Likability. Okay, thank you.
Right. So first name on the list, Bryan Cranston.
Likability 9, acting 8. 8.
All right. I would say acting 9, likability 7.
Oh. Is it because Walter White was such a bad guy at the end?
No, I just like
Jesse.
As much as I love Breaking Bad and like Drive
Jesse.
and stuff with him, Bryan Cranston's never really a draw for me. I like him, but not that much.
I totally get that. I totally feel that, and I don't think he'll ever be able to top Walter White either. So
right. Okay, next one. Samuel L. Jackson.
Likability 10 at times, 9. Sometimes.
9?
Yeah, it's tough. I'd go 9 or 10 for likability because.
I
gotta go 10. Yeah, I gotta go 10. Right, acting, I gotta go. We're gonna go 8 just because of the Tarantino films.
Right. I think that's like where he proved himself most.
Everything else, 6 to a 7.
Yeah, totally. So I'm going with an 8 for acting as well, and likability 9.
Oh, poor Sam. Poor Sam.
Okay, now it's interesting. Emilia Clarke.
Oh, Jesus, that is a good one.
Don't really like her.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. I gotta give you this. I'm gonna go 6 and 6. No, that's too harsh. I gotta give her a 7 on likability, but again, I don't see her having a role that tops Daenerys, and I don't think she's a great actress, so I gotta go.
Not at all.
5 or a 6 on acting for me. 6. I'll go 6 because I think she did pretty good as Daenerys. She was a good casting choice though too. I didn't like when I first saw her on the screen. I didn't think she was gonna be the one, but she pulled it off.
I'm gonna be a little harsh on this.
Okay.
Acting 4, likability 5.
Ooh.
I mean, I have seen more movies with her than you have.
Right. That's true.
I've seen Last Christmas and Me Before You and all that shit. So yeah. And probably her worst role is in Terminator.
Oh God. Like we all forget about Genesis, don't we?
All right. J.K. Simmons.
Okay. Likability 9 for me.
Yeah.
I forgot. We were talking about him last week, and I forgot that he was really, really good in the TV show Oz on HBO, which is about a prison, and he plays this white supremacist. in the show. He's extremely menacing and crazy in that show. Acting?
Yeah.
Gotta go 9. I gotta go
All
9.
right. I'm gonna go 8-8.
8-8's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Jessica Chastain.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go acting 8, likability 6.
Okay. We're gonna go 9s on Jessica Chastain.
Both?
Yep.
Okay, interesting.
Yep. Got a little thing for the
The weird thing
redhead.
is, every time we talk about her, I have to think about that movie we reviewed, Most Violent Year. I don't know why.
That was pretty
so
bad.
Mediocre. Yeah.
That was pretty bad, man. Oh my god. Jesus. It's funny the movies that you wipe from your mind.
Yeah, but I still remember it because it was our first episode, you know.
What a pick that we chose.
Right.
Jesus.
Super exciting, super spectacular. Scarlett Johansson.
Likability 10. Acting 7.
Oh, I'm gonna say 9-9.
Yep.
Mark Wahlberg.
She's a solid actress, though. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit and Marriage Story really helped for me liking her. Because,
Jojo Rabbit for
totally.
me, not Marriage Story though.
I know.
The movie was fucking terrible.
Come on. All right, Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, God, that's conflicting, isn't it?
He can be good if he wants to.
Yes, he can. But it's few and far between. I gotta go acting 6, and then likability 7. Because sometimes he's kind of a dick. So
yeah, I'm gonna go 6.
And it does bother me that he doesn't like it when people call him Marky Mark. So you gotta own up to what you did. So
true.
If I ever fucking meet him, I'm calling him Marky Mark. So
yeah, sure.
Good vibrations. That's what I'm going to say to him. I'm going to lean right up to him and tell him
that. Can't wait for that. Hugo Weaving.
Why can't I place Hugo Weaving?
V for Vendetta, Matrix.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, I was picturing the actor from House. Isn't his name Hugo, too?
Hugh Laurie, I think.
Hugh Laurie, thank you. Okay, there we go. Hugo Weaving.
We had him last time when we talked about V for Vendetta.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 8s.
Both?
Yeah, 8s on both. I mean, maybe 9 for acting because I feel like he's not in a lot. I feel like
he's not
in it,
but he's always great.
Right, and I would like him to be in more shit. And I loved him as Red Skull. So, because his other portrayals, they're overshadowing the Red Skull thing. So
yeah,
and rightfully so.
So both 8s or 9 for acting.
I'm gonna stick to 8s.
Me too. Actually, I think that's fine.
8s feel good for Hugo.
Jodie Foster.
Oh, okay. This is a good one. Acting. 8. Or a 9. I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna say 9. I think
2-time Academy Award winner Jodie Foster, but likability. 5.
So what was the acting rating for you?
8.
8. Okay, I'm gonna go with 9 and 5 as well.
Really good.
Yeah, not a huge fan, but I don't mind her. Just,
me neither.
Yeah,
like it's
whatever.
weird. Like she's just not a draw, but she's always good.
True. Yeah. All right, next one, big boy, Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, likability 9.
10.
9.
He's a 10 for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You got a love affair with Brad Pitt this whole entire last year. So
but I also just think I always liked Brad Pitt since Snatch. So I just think Brad Pitt never did a bad role. He never had a bad performance, in my opinion.
I'll have to look at that.
Of course, that might not be true, but just my first.
Well, he early in his career, he had a lot of very likable roles too. He was very fun, and so I can't really argue against that. I really can't. I'll stick with the 9 for likability. Acting, I'm gonna go.
I'm going with 8.
8 feels perfect to me.
Yeah,
actually, because he can pull off a great performance, but he likes to have fun. You know, he likes to have some fun roles in there.
In the end, he's always just Brad Pitt. You know. He doesn't have the range, really.
I foresee actually more. Yeah, that's the thing. Range. You know, he's always going to be Brad Pitt, even though in Snatch, he does transform himself very well in that movie. So, but even in 12 Monkeys, which is one of the movies that I always point to as one of his best performances, he's still Brad Pitt in that role.
Mm-hmm.
And Legends of the Fall, I always feel like doesn't get enough credit for that role, but. You're right. I don't see a lot of range.
I also feel like Ad Astra was different for him. That was cool.
He's like Tom Cruise in a way. Like you don't see Tom Cruise doing a lot of different things. He's just Tom Cruise.
Not anymore. But in the 90s, I felt like Tom Cruise was really versatile.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm talking like his voice and shit. Like he always sounds like. The only movie that I feel like he ever did an accent really was Far and Away, when he had an Irish accent.
Never saw that.
Good movie.
All right, next one.
What do you got?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ooh. Gotta go
6.
Yeah, acting, I think 6 is pretty generous. I would go.
Actually, I'm gonna go with 5.
But I think I'm gonna stick with 6 actually, because he's still, being in front of the camera acting is not easy. So
true, yeah. But
and being funny,
always Ryan Reynolds.
He has a very natural funniness to him, which is why he gets like a 9 for me in likability. Because I do. Oh, really? I've always liked Ryan Reynolds in a lot of movies. I even like him in Green Lantern, and that movie gets so much hate. But there was a lot of problems with that movie that wasn't just him, But yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'd go 6, 5 or 6, 8 or 9 for likability.
Going with 5 for acting and likability, 6.
I
was never really a fan of him. He always plays himself, and it's not very exciting for me. Also, I'm not a fan of his humor. It's not that it bothers me, but it's just not my kind of humor.
Right.
Rachel McAdams.
I feel like she's kind of fallen off the wayside a little bit. She was what has she been in recently? Rachel McAdams.
There's a movie called Game Night, comedy.
Yeah. I did watch that. That was a good movie, actually.
It was good, yeah.
Surprisingly, was pretty good. Likability, I'm gonna go like 8. No, 7. Acting, 6-ish. She's very good in the. She's very good in The Notebook, though. So
yeah.
But I feel like the strongest points about Notebook were Gosling and James Garner. So. Yeah, I don't think it was really Rachel McAdams driving the force. And she really wasn't that memorable in Sherlock Holmes to me. So
true, sadly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 7 though.
Yeah. Can't really complain, Feels pretty good.
Tilda Swinton.
Ooh. Creepy Tilda Swinton.
I'm gonna go with 9 with acting.
Yeah. 9 with acting, likability. I'm gonna go 8 because I really do like her.
Yeah, me too. Actually.
She's a bit strange, a little kooky, different.
But she always makes a movie better.
Agreed.
All right. Don Cheadle.
Ooh, Donnie Cheadle.
The first thing I always think about with Don Cheadle is Boogie Nights, actually. So likability 8.
The War Machine. Yeah, likability, he's pretty high. I wouldn't call him a draw. Even though I don't know if you ever get a chance to see it. Hotel Rwanda. You ever see Hotel?
I saw that, yeah.
That was pretty solid. Not that long ago. That was pretty solid.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah, so he does have he's never been a bad actor ever. So
no.
even back in the day, I remember the first time I ever saw him was a Denzel Washington movie called, I think it was The Devil in a Blue Dress. It was a Carl Franklin movie. But he stole the show. You know, he fucking stole the show. And he kind of has a way of stealing scenes. Like, his likability's pretty high. I'd go 8-8 for Don Cheadle.
Mm-hmm. He's also very funny.
Yes.
Yeah, 8-8 seems fine.
Yeah.
And last one, Nicole Kidman.
Ooh. Ages like a fine wine, in my opinion. Not looks either. I'm just saying acting. No,
she's been very good lately.
Lately. And she's got a pretty good body of work too. To Die For, if you ever get a chance to see it, the Gus Van Sant movie from back in the day. And she's really good in Cold Mountain as well. And The Hours, the one she got the Oscar for. I gotta go 9 on acting, just because she has been very good, and she was really good in Boy Erased as well. Everyone was good in that movie. It was kind of underrated.
I agree.
I feel like that movie was likability though. 7.
Oh really?
Yeah. I don't know. She's not. It's weird. Like, she's not a draw, but she is always awesome to see on screen because she is a good actress.
True that. I mean, remember when I talked about that Werner Herzog movie, Queen of the Desert? That didn't really help her. So I'm gonna go with 8-7.
8-7. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 for acting, 7 for likability.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Then I guess we'll continue with that next week or something else. I don't know. I mean, this stuff like this, we can always rate actors. That's right. Like, if I have no idea what we can do, then I'm just gonna go with this one.
You have a god complex. You like to rate people, you know. And...
Yes. So the interesting question is, did you see any movies?
Movies.
In 2 weeks.
I did not.
Big surprise.
I went down a wicked rabbit hole of Shark Tank and Dragon's Den. Watched a lot. Do you know what that is? Reality show where it's entrepreneurs that pitch their idea and these 5 people decide their fate. You know, it's just fascinating shit.
I've seen clips on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Just fun. You know, it's just fun little pass the time shit. My girl and I, we did finish Ozark season 3. Fantastic. I feel like that show got back to where it was like season 1. Season 2, I felt like was very good, but it was predictable in my opinion, because I did predict a few things that happened at the end of that season. But season 3 kind of held me, you know, in one, not wonder, but you know, I couldn't really predict it like I did season 2. But I did watch something that you recommended.
Interesting.
Yeah. So me and my girlfriend, after Ozark, it just kind of leaves you with this, like, I need more crime. I need more violence, you know, type
Peaky
shit.
Blinders?
No. We watched the first season of Fargo.
Okay.
And that was a hell of a ride. Really, really enjoyed that, dude.
It's great, right?
That was a great recommendation. We're really looking forward to watching the other 2 seasons because I'm excited because it's an anthology series. I really like anthology series anyway. Because the next season is Patrick Wilson, I think.
Right. Patrick, and the guy from Doctor Sleep and Bone Tomahawk, the Native American guy.
Oh yeah,
the Crow Daddy in Doctor Sleep. He's really good in season 2.
I liked him as Crow Daddy too. I liked him. Yeah. But yeah, dude, that was good. That was very good. I really loved the opening music because the opening music had this flair to the original theme. And at the end of the season, the last episode, they play the original theme from the movie. And I just thought that was incredible. I know I'm getting ahead of myself here. And one of the brightest shining points for me in this show, I think it was like episode 6 or something, they have a direct tie-in to the movie Fargo. And
really?
They do, yeah. Did you see Fargo, the original
I
movie?
did, but I saw the show before the movie.
Okay, so this is not spoilers really at all, but
Mm.
Steve Buscemi in the film, he shoots the old guy, takes the money, right? Remember,
Yeah.
he buries the money and just leaves, and then the money was never answered. But in the show, they show the Oliver Platt character when he's younger. He's stuck out in the middle of nowhere, and he walks over to that red little thing, and like I got goosebumps because I was like, oh my god, that's the money that Steve Buscemi left right there. So I thought that was just a small stroke of brilliance and an ode and homage to the movie that I thought was I needed that, and I love that. Like, it was fine on its own. You didn't need that, but just that little taste of the movie for me, and including the original theme, I thought was very good. And they captured the tone of the Joel and Ethan Coen movie in a lot of ways. But it was just such a fun ride. It was one of my favorite Billy Bob Thornton roles
Amazing.
that
Absolutely.
I've ever fucking seen him in. And it just reassured me that how good Billy Bob Thornton can be. And Martin Freeman too was he was just like this perfect like parallel of
William H. Macy.
William H. Macy. Yeah, exactly. So there was like a very, distinct like thing there with them, but he was that was a fun story to watch, man. That was a great show. Great fucking show.
I'd actually say I like season 2 even more. But it's hard. It's hard to like, they're different, but season 2 also has Jesse Plemons and Kieran Culkin. Like, some good people.
And this
also
is before the face got bigger for Plemons.
Not sure though. Maybe. And season 3 is amazing because Ewan McGregor plays twins, and David Thewlis is in it. It's great show. I'm looking forward to season 4, which is supposed to be coming out this year, I think.
Yes.
With Chris Rock.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I like that.
All
yeah,
right.
they hit a home run there. The showrunner, the writers, they that's a home run in my opinion. Incredibly violent too. I loved the violence of that show. No spoilers, but the Martin Freeman scene with his wife, that was kind of just like, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
I think I even said that. Like, I was watching it with my girl and I was just like, oh shit. So
the first episode is so good when it all happens.
Right. Like, I even told her, I was like, we went and had a smoke right after the show because it was that kind of show. You know what I mean? Like, I watched, like, I'd never seen a season opener where it felt like a season finale. Like, that was incredible. A home run. I can't say enough about how good that show was. So I'm really looking forward to the next 2 seasons and the third one, or the fourth one that's coming.
Yeah, very nice. Glad you saw it, finally.
There you go. I did a recommendation.
That's cool. All right. I watched in these 2 weeks, I watched 17 movies, which is, I think, below average for me.
That is below average, yeah.
But I also, since we didn't do last week, I was kind of slow on watching movies this week because I thought, I already have 8 or 9 movies to talk about, so I don't have to see more. Mm-hmm. So I just always, sometimes I force myself to see stuff for the podcast. And this week I was just watched stuff when I felt like it. And mostly it's solid or like pretty good movies. It's like in the 6 or 7 category, with few exceptions. Only 2 rewatches. And
now, do you think though that when you do, I don't want to say force yourself to watch a movie, but do you think it might affect the rating at times?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So yeah, the worst movie this week, which is by far the worst because it was absolutely terrible.
Here we go.
I don't think you heard of it actually because it's just one of those forgettable movies. It's called Reasonable Doubt with Samuel Jackson and Dominic Cooper from 2014. This movie is incredibly stupid and forgettable. I don't even really remember the plot or anything. It's about this attorney who gets involved. Like he hits a guy with his car and then just leaves him there. but then it's like later revealed that the guy he hit was actually killed by Samuel Jackson. And
a little too convoluted, maybe.
Yeah, like it doesn't really make any sense, and it's the problem is there's nothing original in this movie.
Yeah.
Dominic Cooper is like terrible. His acting is so bad. Samuel Jackson just showed up and played himself, as always, in these direct-to-DVD movies. And yeah, it looks totally bland. Nothing interesting in terms of cinematography. It's basically a waste of time, the movie. You know, the story is just generic garbage, you know, as original as songs about relationship breakups. Full of cliches.
I feel like Dominic Cooper found his stride with Preacher.
In Preacher, he's really good.
He's very good in Preacher, yeah.
Cheap. This is like a movie nobody needs and nobody will ever remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Paint by the numbers bullshit, it looks
totally,
like. Yeah. Even the poster looks like it's a ripoff of another movie. I can't place it.
The poster is so bland as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's no creativity involved in this movie.
I watched a YouTube video a while back about a guy bitching about movie posters and how.
Oh, I saw that too, I think.
In the 70s and the 80s, how they were all painted and cool, and now they're just pictures of people's faces on Photoshop. And it's true, man. It is true. Yeah. It's so annoying, dude. Like, that's a terrible poster. I'm sorry, I can't get over that.
Yeah, it looks super cheap. And it like the poster already tells you that it's direct to DVD.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
The title, you know, Reasonable
Doubt.
Like, you know, there's 1,000 movies that could be named that way.
Rated R, 1 hour and 31 minutes. Yeah.
It sucks. So let's move on to a movie that is not good, but it's at least a little more interesting. I watched, actually that was yesterday, I watched A Rainy Day in New York from last year by Woody Allen. With Timothy Chalamet, Elle Fanning, Jude Law, Liev Schreiber, Diego Luna, Rebecca Hall. It's a bunch of people I like. The funny thing about this is Woody Allen himself said that this movie didn't really turn out that well, which is a weird thing to say for a director. So it's about this young couple, Timothy Chalamet and Elle Fanning. They visit New York, where Chalamet grew up, and for a weekend, because she has to interview a famous director played by Liev Schreiber, who is also unsatisfied with his movie, which was, you know, kind of a meta gag. And there's like, then, you know, there's bad weather, and they both go on separate adventures with different characters. She almost, you know, falls in love with Jude Law, Liev Schreiber, and Diego Luna. It's kind of weird.
All of them, huh?
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, it's a Woody Allen movie, right? So it also has the typical Woody Allen dialogue, which is, you know, a little weird. It was all right, but, you know, his dialogue isn't really my thing.
Like it's weird. Like his dialogue is good, but it's not.
It is good, yeah. It's well written.
Well written, yes, is a good point. Kind of like, okay, so I know you like him, but Noah Baumbach. Baumbach, yeah. Like his dialogue is very good, very solid. It's just not dialogue that pertains to me. So kind of like Woody Allen in a way. It kind of speaks the same language in a way for me.
Yeah, I was never really a Woody Allen fan. Like his biggest masterpiece, supposedly, Annie Hall. No. I didn't like Annie Hall. It's like not my kind of movie. And Midnight in Paris with Owen Wilson was all right. But yeah, this movie, Rainy Day in New York, at least it was entertaining. It's very short, and it's not boring or like uninteresting. Elle Fanning was actually solid. She's like super over the top weird, which was fine. But yeah, this movie is just kind of forgettable. Like there's really nothing standing out. So yeah, I can see why Woody Allen said that this isn't really his masterpiece.
Yeah,
it's an okay watch.
Yeah.
Which is sad because it's kind of sad because like Timothy Chalamet usually does good movies. Like for me, it seems like he just wanted to have a Woody Allen movie in his resume.
That's the thing. Like if you're an actor, do you say no to Woody Allen? That's going to be tough.
Right.
That's going to
Especially
be a
when you're
tough thing.
an actor.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move on. I watched a movie that probably nobody has heard of. And I only watched it because the two leading men are a couple of my favorite actors. I watched Fire Creek. It's the Western from 1968 with James Stewart and Henry Fonda.
Okay.
So that was interesting to me, those two. It's about a peace-loving part-time sheriff in a small town called Fire Creek, and he must take a stand when a gang of vicious outlaws take over his town. And the vicious outlaws are led by Henry Fonda. So American Westerns from the 60s and before aren't really my thing because I think that Italian Westerns wipe the floor with them, kind of.
Agreed, yeah.
So like there are of course exceptions, but also this is 68. Was after the Dollar trilogy and the same year as Once Upon a Time in the West.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a classic American Western, which is most noticeable with the music. Italian Western music is the shit.
Agreed.
And the music in this one is just super. It doesn't feel like Western music because at this point, Italian Western music is basically Western music, right?
You almost need that. You almost need
right.
it. A prime example is Red Dead Redemption. When you're playing through Red Dead Redemption, you hear that Ennio Morricone feel to the music at times. So I agree. I think those Italian Westerns, they changed the game for Westerns.
Totally. This movie is, this is not anything exciting, but it's kind of, it was interesting because this isn't a Western with much action. It's more about the slowly building conflict up until the end when it, kind of explodes in a showdown. And Henry Fonda was pretty cool because unlike his role in Once Upon a Time in the West, in this one, he's actually from the goons in the town, he's the most decent guy for the most part. He's actually likable. I enjoyed his role.
Yeah.
But it was kind of weird that the same year he played Frank in Once Upon a Time in the West, two Western villains for a guy who mostly played heroes.
Yeah. It's stepping outside the different zone than what he was accustomed to as well.
Right. And I don't know which one came first because the same year. I don't know.
Yeah, you could probably find that out, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's not very important actually. James Stewart, he looked really good for his age in this movie. He was 60 when this was shot, and he looked kind of young actually, and he was very he had energy. He wasn't an old man or anything.
And being 60 back then was a whole lot different from being 60 now. So
right.
James Stewart though, I've never thought was a great actor though. I know I know it might be an unpopular opinion, but he's just one of the classic over actors for me. Because everybody thought they were on a stage play back then anyways. Charlton Heston is another one that's fucking...
Charlton Heston?
Charlton Heston, I think, was terrible back in the day. Yes. Just Planet of the Apes, fucking Ben-Hur, Ten Commandments, all the movies that I love. I love them. But there's a part in Ten Commandments where he throws himself at the mountain, and I've never gotten over it, how cheesy it is. Just, why don't you tell me? And just oh my God, Charlton.
I get you though. Yeah, I agree. The acting is more theatrical, and when guys like Marlon Brando and James Dean came around, those guys were way ahead of their time. I feel like.
Yeah.
Was way more natural. These days, acting is all natural if it's good, Yeah. But yeah, this theater shit, yeah, not my thing either. But I can, in a Hitchcock movie, I think it's all right. The movie Rope, I always keep raving about. There, it feels like a theater play, and the acting it fits,
Well,
so not a bad thing.
12 Angry Men, though, too. It's a theater play, chamber play, like you say, but it's the acting, to me, was awesome in that movie. So, James Stewart, just always, I don't know. He's all right.
I like him. I like him a lot.
No, I like him. Like, it goes back to that likability scale. Likability is very high.
Mm.
Acting, not so much. But Henry Fonda, I really like. I like Henry.
Oh
Fonda.
yeah.
Peter Fonda, not so much.
I can't really judge because with Peter Fonda I only saw Easy Rider, and that was
Escape from
okay.
LA, man. I can't wait for you to
okay.
finally pick up Escape from LA at one point.
Oh, by the way, speaking of James Dean, in this movie there is a kid who looks strangely close to James Dean, but sadly he doesn't have half the acting talent. It's terrible.
Does he look like Dane DeHaan? You know?
No, like he looked more like James Dean than Dane DeHaan did. But yeah, no, it's Fire Creek. It's like I always like. It's always hard to say this, but this is a movie nobody needs to see. You don't miss anything. But it was okay. It was an okay watch. It's not very long, and it's I like westerns, so it was okay.
Yeah. I hear you.
Next one is kind of interesting. I watched a movie called Killing Them Softly from 2012.
The Brad Pitt film.
Brad Pitt, Ben Mendelsohn, Scoot McNairy, Ray Liotta, Richard Jenkins, James Gandolfini. Yeah, the Brad Pitt movie. It's he plays like this hitman dude who is hired to clean up after like two dumb idiots robbed a protected card game, and those two guys are Ben Mendelsohn and Scoot McNairy. And dude, like Ben Mendelsohn in this movie is so good, which was weird because like he's not much in the movie, but he plays this totally fucked up guy who's always sweating and just like I think his accent was so Australian, was amazing. The movie is not very highly rated on IMDb, with 6.2 or something. And I think because like people expected different things. It's not this guy chasing people and killing them. It's mostly just like dialogue scenes, which was kind of weird but also interesting. Just some of the scenes felt kind of disconnected. Brad Pitt has a dialogue scene with the great late James Gandolfini, and
underrated.
Totally, he was fantastic in this too. But it just kind of feels out of place in this movie. It just doesn't really make any it doesn't really add anything to the story. So like and the killings are actually kind of rare, even though when there is killing, it's done very well. Like it looks really good in slow motion and shit. It's kind of cool. Brad Pitt does a good role too. Villainous.
It's a great cast. It's a great cast.
Is, yeah. Playing a villain for Brad Pitt is a little unusual, but not unseen. But he's not actually. He's actually also like Henry Fonda in the other movie. He's a decent guy. Actually, he's not like compared to the other ones. He's actually kind of a nice guy.
The most villainous role I've ever seen him in was California. Right. Where he plays a serial killer, was his most villainous role I've ever seen Brad Pitt.
He was really menacing as Jesse James.
Actually, right, which is directed by the same guy too.
Oh, really?
Andrew Dominic, yeah.
And
he also directed Chopper. I don't know if you ever get a chance to see Chopper. If you ever do, I recommend that. Pretty good.
Okay.
Little Eric Bana Australian role.
I like Bana. He's cool.
Yeah.
So this movie, Killing Them Softly, is nothing too spectacular, but I enjoyed it. Ben Mendelsohn and Scoot McNairy are probably the best part. The beginning scene when they rob the poker game, amazing, super intense, well done.
I remember when this like came out and stuff. Me and my dad were like excited about it, but we both watched it and we just thought it was all right.
Yeah, it was all right. Like, I think the problem is you don't really know who to root for. Like, I think Scoot McNairy, because like he's a likable guy in this, but like he doesn't have much screen time. It's the most screen time as Brad Pitt, and he's kind of a villain, but he's also kind of cool. It's just kind of weird,
Scoot, I really root for Scoot. I like Scoot.
Scoot is cool. I like him. Yeah. He's one of those actors nobody really knows, but He's always good. Always liked him in. I like him in my favorite movie, where he has a small role.
No, he does have a small role, doesn't he? Look at that.
Yeah, it's an okay movie. Also, I wouldn't say that you miss anything if you don't see it, but it's not a bad watch.
I wouldn't say it's essential, but it's just
No.
It's a good movie. It's all right.
I mean, the actors make it worth it. That was
Yeah.
the draw for me, seeing that all those guys were in it. Next up is a documentary I don't really want to say much about because it's not that exciting, but it was cool. It's called "It Might Get Loud" from 2008.
Oh, the
Jimmy
guitar.
Page,
Yeah,
Jimmy Page, Jack White, and The Edge.
The Edge.
Those like Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, Jack White from the White Stripes, and The Edge from U2. They meet
Edge.
and
sorry,
they meet just to talk about guitar playing, and they jam together. And then you also get an insight on each person's history a little. And they're all kind of have different approaches. Like Jimmy Page is this old master of guitar playing,
blues.
Jack White is this naturalist, and The Edge is like this constructor guy,
Yeah, The Edge is interesting because The Edge didn't really know how to, when U2 was first formed, they didn't even know how to play. They just jammed and made the sound, which U2 has a very specific sound, especially with The Edge's guitar. It's just a weird ensemble, the three of them together.
Yeah, like I never really listened to the White Stripes except for Seven Nation Army. I'm not a U2 guy, so like the draw for me was just seeing Jimmy Page, and it was kind of like it was cool to see the faces when Jimmy Page plays "Whole Lotta Love." Like the admiration in their eyes was kind of cool. It's nothing big, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah,
nice little documentary. Next up is a French movie with
God, here we go. I'm just kidding.
You might have actually heard of it. I don't know. It's directed by Mathieu Kassovitz, who also directed La Haine. And it's with Jean Reno and Vincent Cassel. It's called The Crimson Rivers from 2000.
No, I've never heard of this.
Oh, really?
No, I haven't. Yeah. That's like the French duo right there, man.
Totally, yeah. Their biggest actors probably at the time. So it's about two cases that connect. Jean Reno is investigating a murder in like this elite snob school in the mountains. And Vincent Cassel is on a case where swastikas were painted on the grave of a dead girl, and those two cases then eventually connect. It's dark and mysterious and has a good atmosphere, but the story just takes some turns that are a little much. Like in the end, it kind of loses it and gets unbelievable and kind of ridiculous. And like either the twist in the movie is predictable or it's just ridiculous and unpredictable. It's a decent thriller. Vincent Cassel was good. Jean Reno isn't really the best actor, but he's fine. He has presence. It's an okay movie. It's at least violent and dark.
Man, this director, when he came into the States with Gattaca and Babylon AD, that did not work out for that guy. I'm not going to talk shit because I still need to see La Haine, but those two movies are fucking terrible. Terrible movies, man. Oh.
But also, the guy is more of an actor, really, as that he is a director. Like, as I said last time, he was in Munich, that French classic Amélie and shit. He's more of an actor, really.
Yeah, he doesn't more
that many movies.
Yeah, he's got way more acting credits, and he was in The Fifth Element. What up?
He's a cool guy. I like him. Next up is a guilty pleasure for me, I would call it. Because it's not a very good movie, but I actually really enjoyed it. It's from last year. It's called Crawl, with Kaya Scodelario and Barry Pepper.
Oh, not Crawl.
What?
Not Krull.
No.
Crawl.
Crawl.
Yeah, I gotcha.
A young swimmer goes back to her hometown during a hard hurricane because her father is not answering the phone, and she finds him injured in the basement. And with the hurricane, huge alligators were flooded in.
This does not look like a movie that I would expect you to say guilty pleasure to here.
So they both have to survive against those gators and the hurricane, and the water is rising. It's all pretty intense. They're both injured. It's a crazy situation. It's a very short and simple movie, straightforward creature horror.
Yeah.
It's basically what you would expect. You get what you see, right? It's cool because the effects are really good, surprisingly. The gators look always believable and they always fit in. It's very good CGI, actually. And since I think that crocodiles and gators are pretty terrifying, this was effective for me.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, like this was an effective creature horror for me. The actors are okay. That's not important. It's not a deep movie at all, They just do what they gotta do. I always liked Barry Pepper, but he's not.
Same.
He's not an insanely good actor, right?
I've really always liked Barry Pepper, and I feel like he kind of just fell off and did all these movies. Like, I feel like, man, he had like a moment there in the 90s, that little stretch he had with Private Ryan and Green Mile. Like, he had a moment where he was going to be a thing, and then he just kind of fell off a little bit there.
I agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, Crawl, short, fun movie. It's not deep or smart or anything, but who gives a shit? I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is a biopic. Frida from 2002.
Oh.
Selma Hayek, Alfred Molina, Edward Norton, Antonio Banderas, Jeffrey Rush.
Mm-hmm.
It's a biography about artist Frida Kahlo, who channeled the pain of a crippling injury and her I don't know this word, her marriage into work. This summary was from IMDb, so forgive me. Yes, like when she was young, she suffered an accident, might not walk again, but she eventually overcomes the injury. And while she was forced to lie in bed, she started painting, and later she got together with another painter, Diego Rivera, I think. And she married him. But he basically fucked any girl he encountered. So
yeah, I've always said artists should not be together. It's just my opinion. I think two artists together, you create chaos. So just a little word of the wise here to there. When you go off to school, just stick to yourself. Don't go.
I'll remember that.
Don't go fall in love with no artist chick. All right, you don't need that in your life.
And there's also stuff with the Russian Revolution. Leon Trotsky comes to Mexico, played by Jeffrey Rush. Weirdly, I felt like this movie didn't really go that deep into Frida Kahlo's character and the art.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fine. The focus is on the relationships. But I would have preferred a movie about art, like something like the Van Gogh movie, like an art piece itself about art. I mean, that's not a problem of the movie. It's just my personal expectations. Even though there are some artistic stylizations in this, some pretty cool creative choices with the movie, but not a lot. Like, this movie isn't really about the art, which was, sad for me.
I think she got nominated.
She is really good. I think Selma Hayek plays, like, this is the best role she ever played, I think.
Probably, yeah.
I even believed her playing Frida in her teens and when she was old. Like, it's a really good performance, I feel like. Sadly, like, two of the draws for me were Ed Norton and Banderas, and they have like one scene each. Like, Banderas is barely in the movie. Ed Norton has maybe 2 scenes, but like it wouldn't have made a difference if they were not in the movie.
Right.
Alfred Molina, though, he was really good.
Yeah, I've always liked this guy, Alfred Molina. And I feel like Alfred Molina has probably played every goddamn nationality known to man. Like, he has to get an award for that at some point. Like, this dude has played Spanish, he's played Iranian, he's played fucking everything. Because there's a movie my grandma took me to called Not Without My Daughter, where he plays this Iranian guy. Marries an American woman. They decide to visit Iran, and he says, "You're not going anywhere. This is your home now." Very intense movie, man. Very intense movie. I really like that movie. It's based on a true story too, but he was
I heard about that.
menacing as shit in that movie. And he kind of scared the shit out of me when I was a kid watching that a little bit. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Alfred Molina.
Most people probably know him as Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Or as the guy in the beginning of Indiana Jones.
He was so good in Boogie Nights when he's all fucking coked
That's
out,
what
though.
I just wanted to say. Like
Jesus.
his scene in Boogie Nights is one of the best in the movie.
One of the best coked out performances too. I wouldn't have been surprised if they just actually fed him coke for that scene, because that scene was very intense scene. That scene.
Yeah, true. So yeah, Frida is. I think it's a solid biopic, but it's nothing too amazing for me. Like in terms of art movies, I prefer the Van Gogh movie.
One of my go-to art movies was Pollock with Ed Harris. I like Pollock.
Okay.
That dude, fucking crazy. Fucking crazy.
Is there a movie about Dali?
I don't think so. I don't,
because he is fucking crazy, and I would like to see that.
Yeah, I'm sure Johnny Depp will get the role at some point.
That would fit, actually. But
I would love to see Tim Burton's Dali. That would fit.
Oh, yeah.
That would fit to me. That would be something I'd be interested in, rather than, Alice in Wonderland Part 8,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tim Burton fell off a little lately.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's time for me to, I think, apologize a little, because I saw a classic that you really love. And I didn't love it as much, but it was still good.
Is this legend level here?
It is like one of the legendary movies of all time, I think.
Oh, okay.
I watched a movie from 1973 called The Exorcist.
Oh, yeah.
With Ellen Burstyn, Max von Sydow, and Lee J. Cobb, and also Jason Miller, who was the best thing about it, I think. It's about a 12-year-old girl who's possessed by the devil. And her mother
Captain
seeks
Howdy.
the help.
Captain Howdy.
Captain Howdy, that's right. And her mother seeks the help of two priests to save her, to perform an exorcism. And for a long time, this movie isn't really that exciting, which is not, I don't think that's an objectively bad thing about it. No. It's just, it sets up things really well. And I really like the beginning scene with Max von Sydow in the desert.
So do I, yeah.
With his devil figure, the music is really good. The first half, the characters are well established. I especially like Jason Miller's character, the depressive priest.
Yeah.
His conflict was really compelling. And then the second half is more into the horror. The effects of the possession are really good, I think. Like, probably for that time, never seen something like that before. Like,
fucking scared the shit out of people. Scared the living shit out of people.
I can see that. I really like those intense scenes with the possessed girl, which looks gross.
Reagan. Yes.
But for me, it wasn't really scary. It was just kind of cool, Mm-hmm. Like, I wasn't terrified by it. It was just interesting to see. And the ending, I felt like, was very good. Very dark.
I love the ending. The ending is great. There's a thing about the ending, I don't know if you caught too, but there's when he spoilers when he jumps out of the window because he's possessed and he wants to kill himself. His hand is still moving in the other priest's hand. Like, his hand is still moving.
Oh,
so I don't know if you ever want to go down the seeing the other movie, but Exorcist 3 is actually underrated. It's pretty good with the fuck is that guy's name? George C. Scott, I think his name is. But they do a tie-in to that character, the Jason Miller character, and he's actually in it. Yeah, and I think that movie's very creepy. That scared the shit out of me too, because there's a scene with a woman crawling up on the ceiling that just freaked me the fuck out. I don't know why. You know how shit just sticks with you.
Yeah, of course.
Exorcist is always going to be one of those ones that kind of sticks with me, just because it was so very dark horror movie, and but you're right, they do a very good job of the building up of the characters, and I love Ellen Burstyn.
She's really good in this. I mean, she was also really good in Requiem for a Dream. I didn't know that was her, but Yeah,
She should have fucking got the Oscar for that shit. She should have got the Oscar. It was ridiculous.
probably.
Julia Roberts got the Oscar for Aaron Brockovich. Get the fuck out of here.
I've never saw that, so I can judge.
You can judge it all you want, man. That's a one range fucking actress right there, dude. Julia Roberts is not a good actress.
Okay.
She's like with Sandra Bullock to me. She's just there.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with her because like I like her in Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson. I like her in a lot of movies. I do, but to get an Oscar, I still think getting an Oscar should be a big deal. And she should not have got it. Yeah, I don't think she should have got it for that role. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so you watching this
was good.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it though, at least.
Yeah, I'm glad I checked it out finally because it's one of those classics you should have seen. I feel like.
Did you watch it during the day?
No, evening.
You watched it at night. Did you turn off all the lights? Did you seclude yourself? Yeah, that's how you got to do it.
I know, but like, even then, I don't think it would have scared me that much. Yeah. All right. Next up is a movie that I expected to be very good, but also...
I'm sorry, but what version did you see? Did you see the version where she crawls down the steps backwards?
No.
Okay, that was an added scene that they put in. Creepy as shit, dude.
So you would say the extended one is
I
better?
don't think it's... no, I can't say that, but it's just that creep factor of her walking backwards down the steps like a spider is very... unnerving.
That sounds creepy, yeah.
It's very creepy. I don't think it holds up. There's a lot to Exorcist that I think it's a little dated, but I think the practical effects still look pretty good. She looks fucked up. Like they nailed her makeup and the prosthetic that they used, or whatever it was, for the model of her head. Fuck. That movie just creeps me out. It just does, and it always will. And The Omen. The Omen creeps me the fuck out, too. So.
Omen.
Richard Donner. Back in
Gregory Peck.
Gregory Peck. To Kill a Mockingbird. Gregory Peck.
Okay. It's on my list now. Yeah. Good rating. So yeah, next movie is another one of those that I had high expectations for, but like fell short a little. It was still good, though. I finally watched my DVD of What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see what you think about this.
Johnny Depp, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Juliette Lewis.
I killed him, Gilbert. I killed him.
It's about this young man in a small Midwestern town, and he struggles to care for his mentally disabled younger brother, Leonardo DiCaprio, and morbidly obese mother, while attempting to pursue his own happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a coming-of-age movie, and I usually like those. It's a good story. I feel like the atmosphere of the small town is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
It feels different. The acting is really good. I knew it was gonna be good. DiCaprio in this movie he was like 17 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Super good, fantastic, and super convincing too. Like,
yes.
DiCaprio might just be the best actor ever. It's like
that's another example though of a role that if you got it today, there'd be backlash, guaranteed.
I don't think so, actually, for this one.
No. I guarantee it. If you announce it today that you're playing mentally challenged, there's going to be backlash from all these people that say that there should be a mentally challenged actor playing that actor now.
I don't think
because
so,
people don't believe in acting anymore, and it's pissing me the fuck off.
I know, but I don't think in this case, like in the movie Good Time, it's the same thing. But anyway, Johnny Depp. I always really liked seeing Johnny Depp in the 90s movies because like he made some different things back then. And it's like these days he's always the same kind of weird, and it's just tiring me.
It's weird because like he played eclectic roles back then, but they were different. Now it's just like this caricature of himself, which is strange. It's like,
yeah,
because I'm totally with you here. Totally with you. I'm on board here with this. Like he's been irritating me for quite some time.
Like 20 years almost.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done anything really different anymore since Jack Sparrow.
And Public Enemies and Black Mass were not what I wanted. So
Public Enemy, dude.
Donnie Brasco, pretty good. See, it's
Yeah, but that
weird.
was before.
Like he's
It
had
was 90s.
I agree. There you go. Yeah, that was before he slipped into this. I guess it's Jack Sparrow on, maybe?
Yeah, like in Lone Ranger, he's basically Jack Sparrow again. Or
As Tonto.
in, I don't know, all the new Tim Burton movies, like Alice in Wonderland and shit.
Yeah.
It's just always the same, and it's not exciting anymore. Like with Jack Sparrow, it was fresh, But now... And I really like him. Like, I really like Johnny Depp, but only for his early roles, Fear and Loathing, Ed Wood, and all that shit, Dead Man.
Yeah, I would say Fear and Loathing probably the last best role. Probably the last,
yes, absolutely.
Last great role.
Except for Jack Sparrow, the first one.
Yeah, you know me. I like those movies, but I feel like after the third one, they probably should have moved on from the Jack Sparrow thing then. But then it's weird because I hate 4. I hate 4 with a passion.
4 is terrible.
Absolutely terrible. And it's got that guy in it that I don't like.
Oh.
See, you and me, we speak the same language.
I think
sometimes.
You're speaking of the 5th one. The 5th one has that guy.
Oh, okay. Now, see, I still hate that guy, but I at least liked the 5th one. I thought the 5th one, they came back. Yeah, it was all right. But still... It's 2 movies that I just don't think you needed Jack Sparrow.
No, not at all. I think the trilogy was good as it was, even though the second and third aren't amazing, but it's way better than what they did later.
They're amazing. Masterpieces. Gore Verbinski can do no wrong.
Okay. Fair enough.
But that guy, though, I know we don't know his name right now, but that guy is like Dane DeHaan. Just kiss of death.
His name is Brenton Thwaites.
Thank you. I know we've talked about him before. I don't like
he's
that guy.
Gods of Egypt and shit. This guy's terrible.
Have you seen Gods of Egypt?
Yes, sadly.
Oh my god, that was so terrible, man.
Anyway. He's one of those actors who's not gonna have a career, I think.
Well, he's kind of the star of Titans, but I don't see that show lasting much longer. Yeah.
All right, let's pick up the pace a little. I watched a Korean movie called New World with Choi Min-sik, the guy from Oldboy. It's a gangster movie. It's about an undercover cop. He's the IMDb summary is pretty short and weird. It's an undercover cop finds it difficult to play both a cop and a goon. That doesn't say much, I think.
How weird is it that Heisen just pops up in my chat and says Falling Down is fucking classic? How crazy is that? We talked about Falling Down at the start of the show. It's funny.
Yeah, and you're right. It's fucking classic. So this is I don't really know what to say about this movie. The story was a little confusing in the end, but in the beginning, but it was kind of good. Korean movies always get the tone right, I feel. This was serious, intense, and I think believable. First half is a little slow, mostly dialogue, but not boring. Second half is really good. There's one fight scene in an elevator that was insanely good and bloody. The actors were really good. The music was good. And actually, the most interesting thing about this movie was it pays homage to The Godfather in a really cool way. The ending is super solid. So it's a solid Korean gangster movie. That's all I want to say. It's like
New World, it's called?
New World, yeah.
Korean, you said.
Korean, yeah. I think Korean movies, they always do gangster stuff right. I like Korean gangster movies a lot.
I think in terms of the Asian market, the Koreans are way ahead of the curve when it comes to making movies, because we talked about it before, like Japanese movies, they have this weird tendency to just go fucking overboard.
Yeah, Japanese tend to be like, the movies sometimes are a little corny.
Like they're they're kind of stuck in this theatrical. A
little, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Korean movies, the ones I've seen anyway, grounded, gritty, kind of.
I would say they're the closest to Hollywood.
And very violent too. Very violent.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yes.
next one is a movie that I think you really liked
Uh-oh.
from last year again. I saw it at the theater, actually, because they're showing it again. It's Richard Jewell by Clint Eastwood.
Oh, what'd you think of Richard Jewell?
With Paul Walter Hauser, Sam Rockwell, Kathy Bates, Olivia Wilde, and John Hamm. I thought it was good. I thought it was like an interesting story and it's well told.
It's pretty topical too. It's pretty topical as well when you think about it, of terms of what the media can do to a human being.
Totally.
Yes. I think Eastwood released this at the right time too. I just feel like
maybe we should tell the folks at home what it's about.
Yes, Richard Jewell.
It's about this American security guard, Richard Jewell. He wanted to be a policeman but didn't make it. And he, like at the Atlanta Olympics in 96, yeah. He discovers a bomb under a bench, and with that he saves many lives, but still I think 2 people die. But now the media and the FBI is like on his trail because they think he is the terrorist, and he just wants to put himself in the spotlight by saving people, which is just super outrageous. I mean, this guy is actually like, he's a hero, man.
I agree.
And they all just pretend like he's some, like, because he perfectly falls into the category of lonely bomb builder,
Yeah. I mean the profile.
Right.
The profile
just fits so well. So the FBI, John Hamm, they are totally convinced that he did it. Dude, the acting in this was super good. I like this Paul Walter Hauser dude.
Kind of sinister too, the John Hamm character a little bit there.
He's an asshole.
Total asshole. And I'm with you on the main guy. What's his name again?
Walter Hauser.
Paul Walter Hauser. I loved him in I, Tonya.
Yeah.
Yes. And but he really pulled off the Richard Jewell character, like, cuz
super likable.
I'm kind of like, this is kind of, I don't want to say personal, but almost personal in a way, because I was watching the 96 Olympics when that fucking bomb went off, and everyone was like, I was watching that shit live, and they were just like, did you hear something? And everyone, it was a big deal when that happened, when that pipe went off. So I just think that's a solid Eastwood flick right there.
It is. Yeah, it's really solid. I mean, especially, I think the acting is the strongest part. Sam Rockwell and Kathy Bates, they're never bad. They're just always good. And Kathy Bates in this is super good.
Yeah.
I think this movie might lack some big moments. Like in the end, it's not like the way it gets resolved isn't super spectacular. But I like the scene when they sit at the office of the FBI and he makes his monologue. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, solid movie. I think it's better than The Mule, the last Eastwood.
I agree with that. Yeah, The Mule was a bit of a letdown because that was a lot of hype for me.
I think The Mule is not bad, but it's just kind of forgettable in a way, even though it's a good watch.
Good watch, yeah, but I wanted that to be like, the Eastwood send-off, and I don't think it was the proper Eastwood send-off.
Not really. Next movie is one that I thought was amazing. I finally saw a particular Stephen King adaptation called The Mist from 2007 by Frank Darabont with Thomas Jane, Laurie Holden, and based on a Stephen King short story, I think, or a novel. I don't know.
Short story.
So after a storm that blew a tree through the window, Thomas Jane goes to town with his son and his neighbor, who he has some conflicts with, to get some stuff to fix it. And when they are in the supermarket, a thick mist appears, and in the mist there's things that apparently kill people. So now they're all trapped in the market and don't know what's going on outside. And I think the idea is already so cool. And I think Frank Darabont is one of those guys. He doesn't do a lot, but everything he did is super good.
Especially when he does Stephen King adaptations. I feel like he is the man when it comes to Stephen King adaptations.
I mean, he did Shawshank, he did The Green Mile, so...
Yeah.
He also created The Walking Dead, I think.
He was the showrunner Yes, for The Walking Dead. But then he famously got fired for season 2. Yeah.
That was a bad decision, I think.
I think he's actually still in legal things with The Walking Dead, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he hasn't given up on his fight, I believe, with The Walking Dead. Which kind of bums me out because I'd rather see him direct more, because I think he is very underrated, especially with those 3 movies. I mean, Shawshank is argued as a perfect movie. And
not argued. It is perfect.
It is pretty perfect. Yeah. So in The Mist, I feel like it's a different movie, obviously different, but still just solid and very, very tense. Very tense.
It was funny because there are a lot of actors from The Walking Dead in The Mist already.
Yes.
And some actors are also in The Green Mile and Shawshank. This guy called William Sadler.
I love William Sadler. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's like one of those guys you can hate or just, in Shawshank, he's pretty likable, I think.
Jeffrey DeMunn.
Jeffrey DeMunn is great.
Yes, I love Jeffrey DeMunn, yeah.
Yeah, this movie is just super thrilling. The drama that is created between the characters in the market, it's sometimes a little too much, I think, but it's still really entertaining. And the monster design, dude. The monster design is so cool.
It's dope. And
there's spiders and giant bugs, giant lobsters.
It's very Cthulhu-like in a way.
Totally,
yeah. Yeah, like you can't even design in your head what all of it looks like because you don't get to see all of it, which is part of the awesome part of the movie, actually, is not seeing all of it, just seeing a little bit of it here and there.
In the beginning, there's tentacles that enter the market, and you never see where the tentacles are attached to. And also, like the giant lobster thing, which I think is the coolest monster. You only see it as a silhouette in the shadows. Are
you talking about the very end when you see the big boy?
Not the big boy. The guy that like almost looks like an insect with lobster scissors. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Super cool. Like straight for something like out of Fallout 4. Great. I love that. The effects aren't super up to date, but I think it's fine. They still look good.
Yeah.
And they're also well implemented, which does a whole lot to make them convincing. So I think this is a super solid horror movie.
Pretty good acting too. From
dude, I like Thomas Jane in general.
And I like,
speaking of movie nights.
And I've always kind of like Andre Braugher too. The
who is that?
The black guy.
his neighbor.
Yeah, his neighbor. Brent,
yeah,
the guy, he plays Brent Norton. It looks like here. I've always liked that guy. I don't like him in everything, but I think he was in Glory, of course.
Ah, okay.
I just think he's always pretty solid, but I just think this movie's so fucked up. Like there's so many little fucked up things. The ending, of course. Now I have to ask: was this ever spoiled for you? Did you know about the ending? Oh,
I knew. Which is sad because this ending is just so devastating.
And it's so perfect too. If you like dark endings, then this is one of the darkest fucked up endings you'll ever see on screen.
Yeah, hands down.
And one of the things I really like about the ending also too is after that, the actress Melissa McBride, who's also in The Walking Dead. She doesn't get credited with a name. She's just woman with kids at home. She leaves at the start of the outbreak and they're like, no, you can't go. And then you see her on a truck, in safety.
She made it
there. Yeah. Like that, just the fucking nail in the fucking coffin right there. And, yeah, dude, that ending is amazing.
Also pretty convincing reaction by Thomas Jane in the ending when he's just screaming.
See, I thought that wasn't. I didn't think that was convincing. I thought that was.
I think it was.
I think his scream was not timed well. There was something about it that didn't. Kind of like, I know it's not the same thing, but in Hostels, that girl, what's her name? Rosamund Pike. There's a scene when she screams. It takes me out of it. Like I need a good scream. And I don't know.
I would need to see that again.
It doesn't ruin it for me for Thomas Jane because I still like Thomas Jane and I still like him in the role too. I thought he was perfect for this role.
Yes.
Also the painting that he's painting at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roland from the Dark Tower, baby. Oh,
but there's also a painting of of the Thing. The movie poster of the Thing is on the wall and shit. That was pretty cool. Oh, he
Yeah.
painted Roland from the Dark Tower?
Yeah, the one that
I
he's
thought he
working
painted
on.
Eastwood.
The one that he's working on, that's Roland from the Dark Tower, but Roland is modeled after Eastwood, the man with no name.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense. I thought he was just like doing a Dollar Trilogy poster or something.
No, I think that was Darabont's little, because Darabont was in the running for the Dark Tower for a while, but he had a falling out with Stephen King, which just pains me so much, as you know. So, because I feel like Stephen King, his books, they're all intertwined anyway, especially if you start reading all of them. Like you could create an amazing Stephen King tied-in universe, but they've never done it. And I think you really could pull it off with the right people, but I think it's too late for that now.
Probably. Next movie, a rewatch. I'm not sure if you ever saw this movie. I saw it like when it came out. It's called The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Ben Stiller movie?
Ben Stiller movie. Directed it and plays the leading role, also with Kristen Wiig and Sean Penn. And Adam Scott, who's super dislikable in this one, which is great.
I love Adam Scott. I love that.
It's about this normal guy, Ben Stiller, who never did anything spectacular. Now he has to find a missing photo. Like he's working in the photo archives of the Life magazine, and there's a photo missing. And now he goes on an adventure to Greenland and Iceland and Afghanistan to look for Sean Penn, who's the photographer, and to get the photo for the last issue of Life magazine. I like the story. It's not super authentic or anything, but I like this photography thing, and the adventure isn't really that, like, there's something so down to earth about him just going to Greenland and Iceland, It's not anything super crazy, but it's just nice. This is like my feel good movie. I really dig it.
Really?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I haven't seen this. I remember it got some praise when it came out back in the day, but I just never got around to it.
I mean, I'm not sure if you would like it, but
I like Adam Scott, though. I like Adam Scott.
Yeah, he's the villain. He's like this corporate guy.
Perfect type of role for him too, because he's such an. I love that dude. I know you don't like Will Ferrell, but Step Brothers. He plays Will Ferrell's brother, and he fucking steals the scenes when he's in it. I gotta recommend.
The Aviator.
Is he in The Aviator?
I think so, yeah. But I've not seen him in that much.
He stole the show in the show Parks and Recreation. He was like, the first season's terrible, but then they introduce him in the second season. He completely changes it. He's so fucking funny, that guy. I think that guy is naturally funny. Likability for Adam Scott is really fucking high for me. He just tickles me. Ben Stiller, what do we rate Ben Stiller?
Oh, interesting. I actually really like Ben Stiller because like he does a lot of not so comedy roles. This is a comedy, but not super. It's never silly or corny.
Not Tropic Thunder, yeah. Not Tropic Thunder, yeah.
Like this is just a nice feel good movie, and I like Ben Stiller. Even if he does silly comedies, I think it's more my kind of humor than Will Ferrell.
Right. He directed The Cable Guy too. If you ever get a chance, The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey is pretty solid. It's a little silly here and there, but it's kind of a dark comedy. The Cable Guy. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this one, Walter Mitty, it hits all the right notes for me. So.
Also, I've talked about Curb Your Enthusiasm many times with Larry David. Ben Stiller is in 2 episodes, I think season 6 or some shit. And it's some of the funniest shit I've seen with Ben Stiller.
That's good.
Because Ben Stiller just hates him, like with a passion. You can just see it on screen. Like it's so believable. But I've always liked Ben Stiller. I like him.
Yeah, me too. So next one, if we did this last week, this now would have been the best movie.
Was this your last movie?
No, I have 3 more, but this one last week would have been the best one.
Okay.
It's a movie I think you had in your favorite movies of the 90s. It's called Gattaca. 97.
Oh, solid movie, man. I like Gattaca.
Oh, yeah. With Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman, and Jude Law. I thought it was great. It's about like it's a future dystopia almost.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's a movie about genetic engineering. The premise is pretty cool, in my opinion. Ethan
Which
Hawke is
is
like this regular born dude who's inferior to all the genetically designed, perfect, strong humans.
mm-hmm.
So he's excluded from the space program of going to Titan. Um, and but he just he can't get over it. So he and Jude Law, who is genetically designed, but he's in a wheelchair, they team up, and he like I have no idea how. Like I don't quite understand what they exactly do, but he takes blood from him and shit. All the things that make him pass the genetic testing.
Mm-hmm.
And it like it makes sense to me the way they did it, even though I don't quite understand it. The actors are all cool. I think Ethan Hawke is the right guy for this movie. And I like the whole intensity of the story because
Right.
like a guy in the facility is murdered and they find one of Ethan Hawke's eyelashes, and it's just all about hiding from the law. No, not John Malkovich, Alan Arkin. Um, and then there's also stuff with his brother from the past. There's lots of stuff happening in this. The set design is amazing. I think it's like retro science fiction. It's very old technology from the looks, but it's more advanced.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best part, the music is absolutely amazing. The music is so intense, especially the swimming scene in the end. Fantastic.
Yeah, this movie I put in the like smart sci-fi too, and they do it in a way that's they explain it very well. I thought it was very accessible. It's not too deep,
They do.
too fucking over the edge there. Yeah, dude, I've always liked that movie, and that was like one of the first Jude Law movies I think that I saw. I think, but that's around the time Jude Law was starting to come into the show.
Right.
But this guy, dude, that directed it, Andrew Niccol, he actually wrote some pretty decent stuff. He wrote The Truman Show. He wrote The Terminal. He wrote Lord of War.
Oh.
He wrote In Time, which In Time would have been very good had it been a better movie. I know that sounds weird, but like the story of it is very good. The Justin Timberlake movie where I don't know if you ever saw it. They have like this timer on their arm. Like they have this timer on their arm. Same like weird dystopian shit where like all the rich people, they get more time to live and everybody else can only live to 25 years old, I think.
Oh.
If I recall. Like the whole premise was very cool. Like, so he's very good at premises and stuff, but he hasn't really executed on everything, but Gattaca I think is his best film, which was his first
really
film.
good in my opinion.
That's good that it still holds up too, from 97.
It does. Yeah. All right. Next up is a documentary that was really good. It's called My Best Fiend.
Your what?
My Best Fiend.
Best Fiend. Okay.
From 1999 by Werner Herzog, German director, about Klaus Kinski.
Klaus Kinski. Okay.
So Herzog tells stories of his love-hate relationship with the egomaniacal actor Klaus Kinski, who he did 5 movies with, and it's extremely interesting. Like Klaus Kinski was borderline insane. I'm not sure if you saw the clips with him, but they're legendary in Germany, at least. Him yelling at people, insulting everybody. He's just always going nuts in these scenes. It's unbelievable and kind of hilarious. I mean, Herzog is insane too. It's different. He's just a ruthless artist. The shit he did to get a movie done is insane too. But this was so good. Which was weird. Kinski was also a terrific actor, which proves my point that if you want to be a good artist, you have to be insane. You know, like he was undeniably good, and he fits in those artsy movies of Herzog, which I haven't seen sadly, but I would like to. So this documentary is just about Herzog traveling to the locations where they shot the movies, and he just narrates in his calm and interesting way. I like listening to him.
Warner?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a great voice.
And like the stuff he tells, man, like they both wanted to kill each other at some point, but also they had like moments of friendship. It's super weird. It's an interesting relationship they had. And the most fascinating thing about this was there are moments of strange beauty that make Kinski just more than just a yelling asshole. Like in the end, you see a scene with him where he's just playing with a butterfly. The butterfly is like dancing around his hand and shit. It's just a beautiful scene, which is weird because like the rest of the movie, you saw Kinski just screaming like a madman. And like it adds a lot to his he's such an interesting figure.
I have to say, a documentary about Werner Herzog is more interesting to me than watching his movies. You know, I think his movies are all right. Artsy, yes, and we know how I am about the artsy things.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably watch this though. This seems interesting to me because
it's amazing. Loved it. Yeah. Now only one movie left, and we already talked about it a little.
Did we?
Because it's also by Frank Darabont.
Ooh.
I rewatched The Shawshank Redemption.
There you go. That's why you were like, it is perfect. I was kind of curious about that. It's like he never says Shawshank is perfect.
It's the prison epic from '94 with Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman, and Clancy Brown. And it's about this guy who gets framed for murdering his wife. And he has to serve like 2 life sentences, I think, in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And in prison, he bonds with Morgan Freeman and other people. And I don't know, this movie is just, I think it's absolutely perfect.
You feel like the high rating on IMDb is worth it now?
It is, yeah. It's 10 out of 10 for me.
Yep.
It's just such, like, this movie has all the emotions. It's emotional, it's funny, it's thrilling, it has it all. And the pace is on point.
That's what I was going to say. The pace
is never boring. It's always going forward, and it's so cool. This feeling of camaraderie, dude. I
have to say, too, this is a movie where the music drives it. I feel like the music drives this movie.
Yes. Also. I don't know just how Tim Robbins bonds with that gang of prisoners. William Sadler and Morgan Freeman. Great. And dude, Morgan Freeman, who is actually, I would say, the main character in this, his role is so good. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. He should have won the Oscar over Tom Hanks. My opinion.
What about Johnny Travolta in Pulp Fiction? He was nominated too.
Yeah, but come on.
Yeah, that's who my grandma wanted to win. She just loved John Travolta in Pulp Fiction.
I mean, I do too, but I think like Morgan Freeman in Shawshank is just so good. Legendary.
Yeah, I feel like Morgan Freeman carries Tim Robbins as well, because Tim Robbins is he's good. Probably one of his best roles. But I don't think Tim Robbins is an amazing actor like Morgan Freeman. I put Morgan Freeman in the upper echelon for me. I feel like Morgan Freeman. He's had some bad movies. I mean, I'm not gonna bullshit you here, but
he's a little like Michael Caine. He just sometimes appears in a bad movie. These days. But yeah, dude, Shawshank, man, like there's always proper setup and payoff for everything, and in the end, it all comes together and makes sense. Every question is answered. I think the twist is one of the best ones in history.
One of the best in history, because when I was sitting in the theater for that all alone, because nobody wanted to go see it with me, so I was like, all right, fuck y'all, I'm gonna go see this movie. And I was just blown away when he looks at that poster. I'm like, oh shit, there's a fucking hole behind that poster.
The movie hints at what he's doing, but it's never obvious. Like there's always another explanation for why he wants to have a poster or this hammer and shit,
Mm-hmm.
And also the false, like when the movie pretends that he's hanging himself. It's also perfect when the guard looks in the room and says, "Oh boy," or something like that. It's It's fantastic.
The genius of how he escapes and how they show what he did too. In that little sequence of like him getting rid of the the dirt and all that shit. I love that little sequence. I think that sequence was great. But you know what sequence I love in that movie is the Brooks Hatland sequence, the James Whitmore sequence. I love that whole sequence of him getting released and not being able to adapt, not being able to fit in after being institutionalized for so long, and he takes his life. I think is extremely powerful in that movie.
It is. I mean, this movie humanizes prisoners.
Yes. Totally. Yes. 100%, man. 100%. Because even Morgan Freeman, there's a scene when Tim Robbins is talking to Morgan Freeman, and Morgan Freeman even says, I shouldn't be released or something. Like he knows what he did was wrong. Like he murdered a man, He has the same struggle as Brooks in the end, but he overcomes it. Right.
Because of Andy. And dude, the ending is beautiful. It's a long ending when Morgan Freeman is released and shit, but it's so wonderful, especially the scene at the beach in the ending.
Because there's part of you that you think he's going to kill himself, but then, it's the get busy living a kid. That's goddamn right. And you're right. When you see him walking on the beach towards Andy, it's Whiplash level ending for me, where it's just it's what you wanted to happen. And sometimes movies, like, you kind of need a dark ending, you need this or that. You know me, I like dark endings, I love that shit, but this movie, I needed that to happen for the struggle that these two guys went through inside.
Absolutely. I mean, they went through shit.
Yes,
literally. Tim Robbins,
yeah.
And this is just what you want to see, the ending. It's just beautiful. What a movie.
Good shit, man.
I put this in the list of perfect movies. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, there's really nothing bad I could say about it. I mean, the only thing that I would lean towards is maybe Tim Robbins a little bit, but that is way, way too nitpicky for me to even go down. So I think he was pretty good as Andy Dufresne. So
he fits the role, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, just like Frank Darabont just made this masterpiece, and he makes it look so easy. I don't know. It's just so natural.
There's really good. The Clancy Brown character is very conflicting too, because he shows this human side at times, but then later on he shoots that dude, the young rebel kid. So it's kind of wondrous. Yeah, so you don't really root for him at the same time. Like, you kind of like him there for a while, but the most menacing part of the movie is the warden. I thought the warden was fucking such an asshole without having to be violent, not having to be Don Johnson, in Brawl in the Cell type of warden. Like he was just a straight-laced son of a bitch asshole. And he fucking pulls it off. That guy always plays that fucking guy, but he does it so well, that guy. So, man, I'm glad you enjoyed that, man.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I saw this was like 5 years ago or something. So it was about time to rewatch this. And I showed it to a friend, and he liked it too. And he also said that, like, there's no way to dislike this movie. And I think that's true.
Yeah. Maybe when they get the female reboot. Who do we cast in the Shawshank gender bender? But also too, I think this goes up as probably the best prison movie.
Totally, even though the Green Mile,
Green Mile's pretty good. Like Green Mile, every time I watch it, I'm like, because I've talked about Green Mile too. It has a very dark ending. And I love that ending. I think you should probably watch that again too.
But it's a rough watch. Green Mile is much more depressing than this one.
Oh yeah, because you got that scene too in Green Mile with
Michael Clark Duncan.
Not only Michael Clark Duncan, but when they fry that dude without the water. That is a fucking rough scene, man. Shit.
And also, I think William Sadler is in that as well.
Yeah, he's in both.
I don't know who he's playing, though.
William Sadler plays the dad in Green Mile that has the girls killed. He plays the dad. in Green
Oh,
Mile.
okay.
But in Shawshank, he's one of the prisoners, right?
Yeah. I know. Yeah. What
Good
else
shit.
has he been in? He was in the Grudge, the reboot from this year. Terrible.
Oh, William Sadler?
Yeah. The Highwayman with Kevin Costner. Not a lot.
He plays the
sadly.
bad guy in Die Hard 2. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He plays Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Oh,
So
excellent. Yeah.
So we'll get to see him again in Bill and Ted Face the Music. Yeah.
Is that so? Oh, yeah, that's true.
There is a movie that I love with him. It's a very guilty pleasure. It's called Trespass with him, Bill Paxton, Ice-T, and Ice Cube. You know, ghetto movie, but I love it. I love that movie called Trespass. Because the two guys, William Sadler, Bill Paxton, they're trying to get this money inside this, I think it was a building. I don't really remember the story all too familiar. It's been a while. But they show up to get this money, but then Ice-T and Ice Cube show up to get the money too. So it's like, oh, you know, the shit hits the fan, man, you know. Just a good movie. Like, I've always kind of liked that guy. So Darabont kind of gave him more of a face, you know. Anyway.
Absolutely. He's also really good in The Mist. Like, he goes from being like
that's something we didn't talk about in The Mist. Marcia Gay Harden in The Mist was fantastic.
Oh God, yeah,
she was fucking fantastic as that psycho fucking
an unbearable character,
God bitch. You know what I mean? Like, in the name of God, you know that you always have these people that are just psycho, and you knew it was coming. Like in the movie, like she starts hinting around, and then she's like, "I want to kill your child." It's like, oh my God, this chick.
And when Toby Jones shoots her, it's absolutely amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Just want to see that.
Yeah. That's a good cast. That's a good cast, man.
It is, yeah. Lots of people from Walking Dead. Also, it was super weird to see the guy from the Star Wars The Force Unleashed games as a real person.
Oh, yeah. He's been in some stuff, but he never really...
He's more of a stunt guy, actually.
I know he's in a show, but yeah, I remember that. Like, I remember... Because I saw that guy before his face was put on Force Unleashed. So I remember thinking, oh, it's... That guy sold himself to Force Unleashed.
He also voiced Darth Maul in Solo, which is interesting. Also, as I said, a few people from Walking Dead, you know, Laurie Holden, who I don't like at all in The Walking Dead.
Neither do I. Oh my God. One of the most frustrating characters in all of Walking Dead history right there.
Terrible, yeah. But she was good in The Mist, and she was good in Dragged Across Concrete.
Yeah.
Also, the girl from The Man in the High Castle. She dies a violent death in this.
Right. I don't particularly like her that much.
I don't know. I haven't seen much with her. But back to William Sadler. In the beginning, he's like this asshole you dislike. Then he gets likable. In the end, he falls for the fanatic woman. I don't know the name. You know, the one you just talked about.
Oh yeah, in The Mist.
And then and then he's crazy too.
That's the power of God, man. That's the power of God.
Right.
Like it's a good social, almost experimentation movie of just like what people would do when they're in that situation. Obviously, we don't know because we don't have aliens yet. But people get crazy when they're fucking confined, is what I'm saying. You know, they start to lose their shit.
I mean, it is an extreme situation.
Also, Marcia Gay Harden, very good in the movie Pollock, which I brought up earlier. She plays opposite Ed Harris. So she's pretty solid. Not a draw for me, but everything that she's in, she's always been very good. Marcia Gay Harden.
I think she also played the mom in Into the Wild.
Yeah, and she also was in Miller's Crossing as well. I didn't really care for her in that.
I still have to see that.
Like I said, she's not someone I really care for, to be honest, but that role, she fucking was made for it, it feels like.
Absolutely. The Mist is just a fun movie.
You saw some good movies, you know, this week. Yeah. Because even Shawshank is like as fucked up as it is, I still consider that like a fun movie as well, because it's just...
It is.
It's a good
flows
ride.
So well. All right. I think that's it for this week. So
Appreciate you doing the show earlier today, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, not a problem. Send us some emails, stairwaycinema@gmail.com. And
for real, for the love of God, just send me a fucking email. I wanna hear what people say.
Me too. So tune in next week for Stairway to Cinema.
Yep. Take care, man.
You too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for episode 34 of Stairway to Cinema. I will see you guys later. Have a good weekend.